Jeff Hyman and Tommy Erdely decided that they were going to somehow form or try to form a rock and roll band.
Just to give you a little bit of an inkling how this came about, just to make it a little easier. I was in a band with Johnny and Tommy when I was 14 years old. They were about 21, and that's how they met my brother.
It was called Humphrey Lynch.
That was the band. Yeah. My mom was an artist, and she had an art gallery
Called the Art Garden.
which in Forest Hills was
That happened in place.
kind of was. It was the only art gallery in the neighborhood that didn't sell pictures of
Jews at the Wailing Wall.
Exactly. Actually had some artwork in there.
So anyway,
Actually, Jeff was working part-time at the art gallery, and at the age of 23, he was on his own for the first time. I was starting classes at Queensborough Community College and had my own room for the first time in my life. Occasionally, I'd run into John and Doug, who were still dressing up in glitter glam outfits when they weren't working construction jobs. John's father had gotten them. John talked about starting a band, but Doug didn't think I would be interested because I was still sporting the old blue jeans, t-shirts, and sneakers. I wasn't into the glam thing. Dee Dee said I didn't want to be in the scene. And that I probably thought I was above them now because I wasn't into the obnoxious rock scene anymore, and I was going to school studying classical music and jazz and classical guitar.
you're special, Mitchell, Doug mocked me. We can't play that Andrei Segoyevich stuff. You're very learned now. You know what I learned, Doug? I asked him, that the greatest composers in history got inspiration from the simple music of the peasants, which is today what you call rock and roll. I probably sounded like an ass when I said everything has its value, you know? Okay, Mitchell, Doug said, you're real smart, and you can go to school, but that doesn't mean you'll make it. And it doesn't mean that you're better than us. You can play your Bolerios and your concertos, but you're not a star. You're 20 years old and still just a punk, just like the rest of us.
It was always hard to tell when Doug was giving you a compliment. Jeff told me that Doug and Johnny had talked to him about starting a band, but he wouldn't be singing, he'd be playing drums. A few weeks later, I walked into the art garden and heard something rumbling in the basement. The door to the basement of the art garden was on the floor in the back of the gallery. When I pulled it up, the sound came rushing up out of the hole, the sound that would soon make history. At this point, it was thoroughly crude and hard to define. It was familiar but different and new. There were other new developments as well, like new names for my brother and friends. Jeff Hyman was now calling himself Joey Ramone. Doug Colvin was calling himself Dee Dee Ramone. John Cummings was now Johnny Ramone, and Tommy Erdely would later become Tommy Ramone.
Dee Dee got the name of the Ramones from Paul McCartney, Tommy Ramone remembered. McCartney called himself Paul Ramone when he checked into hotels and didn't want to be noticed. I liked it because I thought it was ridiculous. The Ramones? That's absurd. We all started calling ourselves Ramones because it was just a fun thing to do. There were times that we were pretty lighthearted when we were putting this together. Jeff didn't like the name Jeff, Tommy remembered. He chose Joe. I wanted to call him Sandy Ramone because it sounds so Beach Boyish, but he hated that. I thought it was a cool, funny name, Sandy Ramone. Jeff said, hell no.
Johnny said, we were still friends with Tommy Erdely. He was always telling me that me and Dee Dee should start a band. One payday, Dee Dee said, we both bought guitars and decided to start a band. Johnny bought a Mosrite and I bought a Dan Electro, but then we didn't know what to do with it. We started trying to play some Waffles or Bay City Rollers songs. We absolutely couldn't do that. We didn't know how. So we just started trying to write our own stuff and put it together the best way we could. Johnny and Dee Dee started trying out drummers, but the drummers would come down and basically reject their offer even before an offer was made, saying, nah, I don't want to do this. They knew my brother had played drums though, so Johnny wasn't thrilled about it. He gave in.
I always thought a band with me and John and Dee Dee would be cool, Joey Ramone, remember? because we would be a good-looking band, image-wise. So one day I got a phone call, and they asked me if I wanted to join the band as a drummer. I said, yeah. I might have seen Sniper, Johnny said, when Jeff was calling himself Jeff Starship. I wasn't impressed. I didn't think he was an asshole. I just thought he was a hippie and he was a little out of it. Then he played a couple of songs he wrote, and I said, these are okay. They were a little Alice Cooperish, but good. I was surprised he was able to do that. Me and Dee Dee hadn't been able to write a whole song yet, so he became our drummer. When they auditioned me to be their drummer, Joey related, I played them 2 songs I'd already written, I Don't Care, and Here Today Gone Tomorrow. That's how I got in.
So, essentially, it was Joey who provided the formula for future Ramones songs with those initial contributions. The stark minimalism, the 2-minute length, the maximum of 3 chords, the existential lyrics comprised of 2 lines in their entirety. The other members of the band saw how he made it work, and the group's dynamics snowballed from there. Initially, the Ramones had no material and no concept. Had Joey not contributed I Don't Care, the Ramones sound and concept more than likely would have been something very different.
I wanted to get rid of Joey as a drummer, Johnny recalled, because he wasn't keeping up as we practiced. I would get better each day and he'd stay the same. It took Joey 2 hours to get the drum set ready, he said. We waited and waited for him. I couldn't take it anymore, so we started playing. We stopped after the first song, and I looked over at Joey, and he didn't have the seat on the stool. He was just sitting on the point. After that, they asked him to sing. Actually, it was Dee, because he thought I was unique in the band Sniper, Joey recalled. I wasn't like anybody else. Everybody else was doing an Iggy or a Mick Jagger. Joey was a perfect singer, Dee explained. I wanted to get somebody really freaky, and Joey was really weird looking, which was great for the Ramones. I think it's better to have a singer that looks all fucked up than to have one that's trying to be Mr. Sex Symbol or something.
As Johnny said, Joey was not my idea of a singer, and I kept telling Tommy that. I said, I want a good-looking guy in front. Tommy convinced Johnny that Joey looked good between him and Dee Dee, that it all worked visually. Was Joey a star, Johnny mused? I don't know. With him in the center and me and Dee Dee on each side, that played into it. You have to be in the right surroundings. Just about everyone has to be in the right surroundings. But some people have more star appeal than others, said Johnny. And some people have less star appeal than others, but sometimes they shine far brighter than those with more. And that was Joey Ramone.